being home alone. For some, it's a luxury piece, quiet and total control of the remote. But for others, it's a source of anxiety. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves outside, suddenly feels amplified. You start to wonder, was that just the house settling? Or was it something else? The two stories you're about to hear are from people who experienced that something else. These aren't campfire tales. They are chillingly real accounts of what happened when they found themselves alone and realized they weren't. Our first story comes from a woman named Chloe, who was house-sitting for her wealthy aunt and uncle in a sprawling, isolated mansion deep in the countryside. The house was a labyrinth of long hallways and rooms filled with antique furniture draped in white sheets, like silent ghosts. The first few days were peaceful, almost boring. Chloe spent her time reading and watching movies, enjoying the solitude. The only rule her aunt gave her was a strange one. Never, under any circumstances, go into the basement. The door was locked, and Chloe didn't have the key anyway, so she didn't think much of it. On the third night, a powerful storm rolled in. The wind howled, and rain lashed against the windows. Suddenly, the power went out, plunging the entire mansion into darkness. Chloe fumbled for her phone, its flashlight cutting a nervous beam through the gloom. That's when she heard it. A faint, rhythmic sound from below her feet. Thump, ... Thump. It was coming from the basement. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She tried to rationalize the storm, the old pipes, but the sound was too regular, too deliberate. She crept to the top of the basement stairs, her phone's light shaking. The thumping continued. Louder now. It sounded like someone was methodically hitting the other side of the door. Chloe called out, her voice trembling. "Hello? Is anyone there?" The thumping stopped. Silence. A thick, heavy silence that was somehow more terrifying than the noise. She waited, barely breathing. Just as she started to convince herself it was her imagination, a new sound started. A slow, scraping noise. It sounded like fingernails dragging down the wood of the basement door from the inside. Frozen with fear, Chloe backed away. She ran to the living room, barricaded the door with a heavy armchair, and huddled in a corner, clutching her phone. She called her aunt, but the call went straight to voicemail. The scraping continued for what felt like an eternity before finally stopping. Chloe didn't sleep a wink. She sat there, listening to the storm and the silence of the house, until the first light of dawn broke through the clouds. When the power came back on, she grabbed her bags and left, not even bothering to lock up. She never told her aunt what happened, and she never went back. To this day, she has no idea what was in that basement, but she knows with absolute certainty that she wasn't alone in that house. Our second story is from a college student named Mark, who lived in a small, ground-floor apartment by himself. One evening, he was studying for his finals, surrounded by textbooks and half-empty coffee mugs. It was late, around 2 a.m. The neighborhood was quiet, almost unnervingly so. As he was trying to focus on a particularly dense chapter, he heard a soft tapping on his living room window. He glanced over, expecting to see a tree branch swaying in the wind, but the night was perfectly still. He dismissed it and went back to his book. A few minutes later, the tapping came again, a little more insistent this time. Tap. 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 Now genuinely unnerved, Mark muted his music and listened. Complete silence. He slowly got up and peeked through the blinds. The street lamp outside cast a pale, orange glow on his small lawn and the empty sidewalk beyond. There was no one there. He let out a sigh of relief, thinking he was just overtired and stressed. He sat back down, but the feeling of being watched wouldn't go away. He kept glancing at the window, his focus shattered. He decided to call it a night and started packing up his books. As he stood up, he happened to look at his phone, which was lying screen up on the coffee table. He froze. The screen was black, but in its reflection, he could see the room behind him perfectly. And in the reflection, Standing right outside the window was the silhouette of a tall, thin man. The man was just standing there, motionless, his face obscured by the darkness, looking directly into the room. Mark's blood ran cold. The man hadn't been there seconds ago when he looked outside. How could he have appeared so silently? The tapping hadn't been a branch. It was him. He'd been watching Mark study the whole time. Mark didn't dare turn around. He didn't want to see the face that belonged to the silhouette. Acting on pure instinct, he slowly bent down, grabbed his phone as if he were just tidying up, and, without looking back, walked calmly into his bedroom and locked the door. He immediately called the police, whispering into the phone so the man outside wouldn't hear. He could hear his own heart pounding in his ears as he waited, huddled in his closet. He heard the faint sound of footsteps on the grass outside his bedroom window, then silence. The police arrived minutes later, but they found no one. There were no footprints, no signs of forced entry. It was as if the man had vanished into thin air. Mark moved out. A week later, he could never shake the image of that dark figure in the reflection. A silent observer in the night. It serves as a terrifying reminder that sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones who look just like us, and the thinnest sheet of glass is all that separates our safe world from their dark intentions. So the next time you're home alone and you hear a strange noise, maybe, just maybe, it's not just the house settling. Thanks for watching, and if you have a scary story of your own, share it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more true scary stories. Stay safe out there.